Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to an introduction to Sitefinity 9.0, the newest version of Sitefinity. Today, we are pleased to have a number of people that will add their voices to this call. Our special guest today is from Forrester Research, Mr. Mark Grannan. Mark is an analyst serving the application development and delivery professionals. Mark really does understand digital experience solutions and how they drive better engagement. His research does focus on responsive web design, the planning, pitfalls, and best practices. Also joining him today is Mr. Anton Hristov. Anton is the Senior Manager of Product Management for Sitefinity. He is a longtime Telerik employee and is helping out today with our demonstration. And I'm Robert Mattson. I'm the Director of Product Marketing for Sitefinity, and I will be your host and MC and take care of the day. So a little bit about today's agenda and a little bit of housekeeping. Your lines are muted. If you do have a question, please answer your question by the Q&A feature. We will address as many of the questions as possible at the end of the session. If we're not able to address all the questions, we will get back to you by email post the presentation. And the session is being recorded, and you will receive a link if you'd like to refresh your memory or to share it with other folks who could not make today's call. So today's agenda, Mark is going to be taking a look at an industry update, what's happening from his seat at Forrester in the industry. Then we'll take a look at what drove Sitefinity 9.0. What are some of the drivers that we are hearing that are making us move our product in our particular direction? And then we'll hand it over to Anton. Anton will show you live some examples of the new features of Sitefinity 9.0, and we will end with our Q&A. So with that said, I'd like to hand over the next section of our presentation to Mr. Mark Grannan of Forrester Research. Mark, it's all yours.
Thanks, Robert. And thanks, everyone, for being with us today. For those that don't know Forrester, we are a technology research and advisory company. We've been focused on this intersection of technology and business strategy change for the past 33 years. And we're really excited for this most recent phase or change in how companies are thinking about technology and what we call the age of the customer. And in the age of the customer, we must now think about the customer journey. No longer can we focus on the marketing funnel or some other path to purchase that is inherently process-centric. Forrester has killed the marketing funnel back in 2010 and declared that we're now entering this new 20-year business cycle called the age of the customer, wherein the only competitive differentiator for you and for your organization is to obsessively focus on winning, serving, and retaining the customer on any touch point, on any phase of their journey with your brand. Now, how do we actually get there, and how does it actually translate to where we are today? Well, unfortunately, today, many of us sit in our silos. We operate within a specific function of our company, and by no fault of our own, we have specific technologies, specific processes, specific goals to engage with the customer. But unfortunately, those goals don't necessarily create a unified experience for the customer. Now, if that weren't bad enough, we've actually made it worse and harder to move forward the more complex our individual interactions get, because we've siloed the data. The commerce function is tracking conversions and sales. The customer support channel is tracking tickets and closes of different service requests. And these things aren't being tied back together in a way that can allow us to meaningfully serve that customer in a coherent way going forward. In fact, 68% of executives that we've surveyed, 68% of digital business leaders feel that functional boundaries within their organization are actually holding them back. They're inhibiting their digital maturity to embrace and deliver great experiences to their customer no matter what phase of the journey they are on. And this is inherently frustrating for us because many of us we can see the end goal. We know where we want to go. We know that these bolt-on touch points that we are continually adding on with their separate stack and separate look and feel, those aren't really cutting it. We'd prefer to deliver enhanced products and services whereby we're getting net new value out of that data, and we're providing that value to the customer, and we're also building the top line. We'd prefer to move away from this notion of efficiency, and we'd prefer to be faster in our time to market, increase our agility. We'd want to move towards a cost-cutting mentality around technology and really get to this notion of innovation and speed. And lastly, we certainly want to embrace the customer as a lifetime partner, building advocacy and loyalty along the way, but we just can't seem to get there. We seem to be stuck in this middle ground between traditional and digital business. And why is that? Well, that's primarily because we are inheriting from yesterday's static value chains. Now, while not all of these functions might make sense to every business out there, maybe you're a service company or maybe you don't have retail outlets, but chances are you can understand how you're inheriting from something that's upstream and then you're delivering to something downstream. And there's no way to break out of that cycle. And one of the best ways to embody this sentiment is to look at a quote. And it's a quote from a recent report my colleague Anjali Kundi wrote. And it's a sentiment we hear, quite frankly, all the time. And it's from a vice president of digital marketing at a financial services organization. Quote, technology management is preoccupied with building systems that change infrequently. That's the antithesis of what marketing needs to do online. Now, you have to ask yourself, if you sit in a technology role, am I one of those bottlenecks? Is there a chance that I'm being perceived as a barrier to delivering great customer experiences? Well, we asked that question. What are your biggest challenges in managing your website in today's environment? And one of the biggest challenges, actually the biggest challenge, 41%, which is out in front of the next option, is that IT is the bottleneck for content changes or template changes. You simply can't move fast enough to meet the customer's needs, even though you know you want to, even though you know what you need to change. And this process barrier is actually just one indicator of some of the problems we have, problems we face today as we try to embrace cross-functional agility and really meeting and exceeding the customer's expectations. Now, I don't want to get too pessimistic here, but actually it gets scarier. Less than a third of us have confidence in our ability to drive towards digital readiness. That we don't fully believe that we are ready to embrace digital transformation. Now, what you're looking at here is the confidence in 390 executives' ability to assume that digital will drive business strategy. Digital technology is going to help them move forward. And the top most confident area is that their CEO has a clear vision for digital business. That's only 27%, and it goes downhill from there. They don't understand the potential. They don't have the culture or the people or the technology or the skills or the processes to really win, serve, and retain those customers. That's a pretty abysmal view until you start to think about maybe why. Well, why don't we have the confidence to succeed in this age of the customer? One of the areas is that we simply have too many targets. Those individual silos, they're chasing different initiatives, different technologies, new enhancements to the processes that they've been working on. So if you're trying to tackle personalization and mobile and social and wearables and IoT all at the same time, perhaps it's diluting from your overall investment. Or maybe there's actually areas that are inhibiting success in adjacent areas. So who's doing this well, though? It's not that everyone's failing. Certainly there must be someone doing this well. in terms of embracing technology as a means to drive your digital business strategy. And when we look at the data, we can see that executives in retail feel that technology is driving their business more so than any other vertical. And why would retail be better than areas in healthcare, for example? One of the reasons is that their customers have limited barriers to moving to a competitor. They simply aren't as sticky. And so they need to find a way to embrace customers and win, serve, and retain them despite their fickleness. So that they, in theory, have this problem of all those digital tactics. They have that in spades. They're chasing so many different investments, so many different priorities. And that is difficult to do when you're also then trying to prove value to the business. Retailers are finding it hard to keep up with all the different investments they're making and attributing that back to success against specific metrics. And we picked personalization for this specific question. We asked 97 retailers, how have your personalization investments to date impacted the following metrics? And the only way we can track that is if they feel that that's actually increased their ability to drive success within that metric. It's too hard to actually get more granular than that, but at that level of granularity, we can quickly see that customer satisfaction is at the top with only 14%, where they actually are pretty confident that it's increasing that metric. Email click-through rate's only 13%, site conversion only 12%. We're having a very hard time attributing success, the success of personalization investments, to really driving real change in these metrics. So as we start to understand that digital business transformation is hard, that it means we need to break down silos to help us work faster, increase our business agility, that as we start to understand all the different tactics that we've been investing in might actually be working against each other if we don't have a coherent strategy. Well, let's take a big step back, because it's not all doom and gloom. There are ways to move forward. There are ways to think about a more simple, rational way to improve our business, and that's twofold. It's digital customer experience as one leading indicator, and digital operational excellence as the other. We've mapped those out here on the Y and the X axis on this 2x2. So if you think about splitting your capabilities and your progress as you move forward into those two buckets, you can quickly see that if you're doing neither well today, you are a dinosaur, ripe for extinction. Now, if you're happening to move towards a faster cadence and you can actually get increasingly efficient, maybe you're just doing it operationally. Maybe you've forgotten to delight the customer wherever they are, to help them in their journey, and you're building loyalty and advocacy at the same time. Now, alternatively, maybe you've done a great job with those flashy experiences that really delight customers, but you could never replicate it at scale, and you would fall into the digital connector camp. And maybe there's a few rare examples here on the phone today who are digital masters, who are doing both equally well. And maybe it's honestly a little bit unclear as to where you are today, and you're wondering how to get started. Well, from Forrester's playbook, we are focusing on an architectural view of assembling your technologies and your capabilities to serve customers on digital touchpoints. And to better understand that, I want to take a look back at how we used to buy and implement technology. And it was about the monolithic application. And here is a marketing solution designed probably to deliver emails and target customers on the web. And it's twofold. There's a developer environment on the back end, and there's a marketer environment on the front end. The two are innately siloed, one with analytics, the other with extensions, and we both do our jobs kind of blindly. And it's full stack. We're absolutely storing and maintaining content and services and customer data, and we're maintaining different delivery and separate engagements, different touch points. for each solution. Now, what if we were able to take this monolithic application, one that we probably sourced via a very complex RFP and took a long time to implement, what if we broke that apart? What if we modularized that application? So we thought about the touch point as separate from the delivery, and the marketing process as separate from the customer data management, and so on and so forth. And if we start to think about those modules as individual capabilities that then can be replicated across more than just marketing. Maybe it's a commerce function or a sales function. Maybe it's a customer service function. If we can replicate those same capabilities, or at least understand that there's overlapping redundant investments in potentially, say, customer data to tie it back to my silo story, that we can start to build virtual repositories around customer data, or we can actually create real centralized content repositories, or we can build extension libraries that work across your different solutions. And we get to the point where we have a new architecture that allows us to share the different capabilities across our investments, across the different steps of the life cycle. And because they're nicely abstracted from the other concerns, they can allow us to embrace this new level of agility. We can deliver an experience on any touch point, regardless of which function is driving. And that new ability, that new agility, is actually going to allow us to outstrip the competition. This is going to be our new competitive differentiator in the age of the customer. Now, we didn't just solve all your problems by a few pretty boxes and moving to an architectural approach, but it is going to help you potentially evangelize across your organization as to how to guide your next investments for digital experience. And that will be backed up by this notion of yin and yang, of customer experience and operational excellence working together to drive this new business technology agenda, to really transform the business into a digital business, whereby new thinking allows you to work across the organization as you increase your agility going forward. So with that, I want to say thank you very much for your time, and I will hand it back over to Robert.
Thanks, Mark. I think that was, I really like the way you approached that. And I think one of the things that definitely resonated with me was kind of that contrast between the marketer trying to be agile, but the systems being built not to support it. And that actually ties very well in with a lot of the topics we're going to be talking about the rest of today. So thanks very much, Mark, for that. And now we're going to start talking a little bit about Sitefinity 9.0. And you heard the word agility a number of times during Mark's presentation. And what agility is, really is two things. Agility really is the ability to move quickly and easily, but also the ability to think and draw conclusions quickly and easily. And it makes sense, because if you can see, think, and make decisions quickly, you can move much more effectively and much more agilely. And that is the heart and soul of the 9.0 release of Sitefinity. Now, when we look at Sitefinity, it really serves three people, and Mark touched upon that during his conversation. You've got marketing, trying to be incredibly agile. You've got development, which is supporting them, whether that is augmenting things that they're doing or maybe helping them integrate with other data sources. And then you've got IT, and IT is supporting both development and marketing. And the contrast that Mark did bring up was that IT wants to keep things stable and secure, but marketing wants to change things very, very quickly. And they seem to be in contrast, but they're actually not if they all work together well. And with Sitefinity 9.0, we are continuing down that path, supporting these three different audiences. And this is not something new for us. If we take a look at the past year in 2015, about a year ago, we did a webcast very similar to this, where we launched Sitefinity 8.0. And we can see that we launched 8.1 and 8.2 over the course of the year. And if you take a look at the items in green, those are some of the major features that we released that were focused on the marketer. The blue for the development, and the purple for IT. So in every release, we make sure that we serve each of these audiences, and we're trying to drive their ability to be more agile and do their jobs better. So when it comes to those three different audiences, for marketing agility, we want marketers to be able to do more things more quickly without having to call on technical resources. Because when you think about it, you've got all the things that a marketer needs to get done. The question is, how many can they do until they have to call on a technical resource to get the job done? Because the minute they do, they're going to be in the queue of that technical resource. And obviously, when you've got a great developer or a great technical resource, many people are asking them for help. So if a marketer has to put in the request, they might not be number one in that queue. They may be number 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, or 15 on that queue, and that hampers their agility. On the flip side of that, well, a developer wants to be able to do, well, obviously the more interesting jobs, and enabling the marketer to do a lot of the day-to-day work helps that out. But they also want to be able to do things quickly when it comes to development tasks, even if they're incredibly challenging. So if they need to build on top of a platform or integrate it or extend it, like they have to do with something like Sitefinity, giving them the tools that enable them to do that, whether it's development tools or APIs, make their job easier and make them more agile. And finally, IT agility. Because if you've got one website, well, agility is probably moving from development to testing to deployment. But if you've got dozens or hundreds of websites all over the world, and you've got to make sure that everything works beautifully and you've got great security with it, well, that takes a lot of agility in IT. And the more tools and abilities that we can give IT to support that infrastructure, the better off they're going to be. And these are things that all are key to the Sitefinity 9.0 release. So with that said, I'm going to turn the presentation over now to Anton Hristov, who is leading the product management and strategy part of the Sitefinity family, and let him show you what's new in Sitefinity 9.0.
Thank you, Rob. I'm very excited to show everyone how the Sitefinity 9.0 release impacts the work of our three main user groups. With this release, marketers can create and run more targeted personalization campaigns and better measure the success of these campaigns. They can also get a more detailed 360-degree view of the customer. In addition, marketers can now run localized campaigns with both content and digital assets thanks to the new multilingual support for digital assets. And multi-page forms can now be created without help from developers. For IT, the release introduces a refreshed interface which all users can benefit from, and improved support for the continuous delivery and deployment process. Furthermore, developers can enjoy increased productivity building custom widgets, integrations, and mobile apps thanks to simplified widget creation process, new RESTful API based on all data, and better mobile development tools. We've also improved the overall website performance thanks to various optimizations and pre-compilations. Next, I would like to give you an overview of these features, as well as show you a demo of some of them. Starting with personalization improvements, we're making it easier for marketers to segment their audience by adding additional flexibility, using both behavior and demographic data to create an audience segment in the Sitefinity Digital Experience Cloud. For those of you who don't know what the Sitefinity Digital Experience Cloud is, it is a digital marketing command center, part of the Sitefinity platform, used to drive business growth through end-to-end customer journey analysis, optimization, and personalization. So the first thing marketers need to do when creating a personalization campaign is decide what conversion they would like to optimize for. And in this case, you can see on the screenshot, we're optimizing for business laptop purchases. The second thing marketers need to decide is the experience they're personalizing and which is used to engage the target audience with. And we call this a micro moment or a micro experience that we are going to use to deliver to our target audience. And then the last piece is to define the target audience. And now marketers have the ability to take a predefined audience segment which the system has created for them using machine learning algorithms, and then add their human input to further narrow that audience by specifying additional behavioral or demographic attributes. And once the personalization campaign is created, we're enabling marketers to measure the success of this campaign by providing all the necessary tools for personalization analytics. Here you can see that marketers can see the number of contacts that were targeted with the campaign, how many were engaged before and after the campaign, and then what the conversion rate was before the personalization campaign and after the personalization campaign. And then we also have a chart that shows this engagement over time. And next, we are also providing a more extended view of the customer by enriching the contact profiles with additional data points. Now marketers can see all the conversions and the touch points for a given contact. They also have the ability to upload additional data using a CSV file. A good example is when you sometimes run marketing campaigns using another system, such as GoToWebinar, for example, and you want to bring these contacts and their webinar data to the Digital Experience Cloud, then you can export this in a CSV file from GoToWebinar and import into the Digital Experience Cloud. Next, I would like to switch over to our demo and show you these features in action. So what you see here is our demo website, Quantum Computers. The marketing team at Quantum wants to increase sales of laptops, tablets, and other hardware within the healthcare industry. And the first thing that they would like to know is how many visitors they have on the website that come from healthcare organizations. And they can find this information out using the Sitefinity Digital Experience Cloud. So let's go to Sitefinity DC. The first thing we'll see is the dashboard with different indicators such as conversions, touch points, interactions over time, persona breakdown of the website audience, different attribution in terms of touch points against conversions, our lead score, and so forth. But in order to find the contacts that currently visit the website within the healthcare industry, we are going to go to the contacts area. And here we see a list of all the contacts. So now let's filter this list to show only contacts from the healthcare industry. We're going to go and choose personal data industry, healthcare. Here's our list with healthcare contacts. And let's zoom in into one of those contacts, Steven, to see the improved 360-degree view profile. So here we have Steven's basic contact details. And then on the right, we can see when Steven started his customer journey with the Quantum organization. He first visited the events page 27 days ago. And then we can see also his most recent interaction, which was 21 days ago. He visited a personalized page on the website. Then if we scroll further down, we can see Steven's current lead score, which shows how likely he is to purchase. And this lead scoring model is set up in collaboration between marketing and sales typically. Then we can see that Steven's been profiled as a CIO buyer persona based on the persona profiling model configured in the system. Then we can see that Steven has currently not converted on any of our goals that we track, but we can see that he has hit one of the touch points that we track. And touch points are those micro moments or experiences that we would like to optimize in order to drive people to convert. And the conversions are the macro experiences or goals that the marketing team measures and that represent the bigger picture of the customer journey. Another thing that we can see with the improved 360-degree profile is the detailed journey timeline here, which will show a log of all the interactions that a given contact has had with the Quantum organization across all the digital channels that we collect data from and that are integrated with the Digital Experience Cloud. So the next thing in order for marketers to do is to decide how they would like to increase sales within the healthcare industry. And one way to do that is by running a personalization campaign. So let's go to the campaigns area here, where we can see that there are already 2 campaigns created, and one of them is for the healthcare industry. So if I go to this campaign, homepage healthcare brochure, and this is a campaign that targets contacts from the healthcare industry with the idea to drive them to contact us using the contact us form on the website. And the personalization analytics for this campaign currently show us the change in conversion rate since the campaign has started. We can also see a nice visualization of how many people were targeted with the campaign before and after. So the lighter color represents data before the campaign has started, and the darker one represents data after the campaign has started. And we can see how many were targeted, then how many engaged, and how many converted as a result of the campaign. And then at the bottom is our timeline of engagement rate over time. And if you take a closer look at the conditions for this campaign, we can see that we're optimizing the contact us form conversion, and we're engaging the audience with a healthcare brochure, enterprise solutions for healthcare. And if I click on the details for our audience segment, we see that these are people who come from the healthcare industry. And if I show you how this looks as if you're creating the campaign, you're giving it a title, then you're specifying the conversion you're optimizing, then the micro moment you're engaging or the experience you would like to deliver to that audience. And we have the audience segment here. Currently there's just one attribute, this is the healthcare industry, but we can add more to further narrow the audience if we wanted to, by either specifying behavioral data or using personal data. And if we are to select a different industry, here we can see some of the attributes you can use for that. Here is industry, we can type the industry, or we can just select it from the existing list of industries. And all these attributes, by the way, can be much more depending on how much data you have in the customer journey database. And then the campaign has a beginning and an end date, during which the personalization analytics track what's happening on the website and attribute the campaign to the actual conversion rate here for the contact us form. So now that the campaign is created in the Digital Experience Cloud, marketers need to deliver the personalized experience on the website. And the way they do that is through the Sitefinity CMS. So let's go back to our Quantum website. We're going to go to the admin interface by typing /Sitefinity. And the first thing we'll do is create a personalization segment here in the CMS. So I'm going to go here, create a segment. And you can select different characteristics that are just within the CMS here, or you can select a campaign that's coming from the Digital Experience Cloud. As you can see, there are two campaigns that we can choose from. And if I go here to the Sitefinity DEC, and we can see that those are the two campaigns we have. If we create another campaign, it will show here in the CMS for us to work with. So let's select the one that we're interested in, give it a title, healthcare campaign. This segment is active, so we're gonna create a segment. Now let's go and personalize the home page. So we're gonna go to Pages, choose the home page. Here we have a content block that currently is being personalized for customers who have purchased notebooks. We are showing them a tablet so that we can upsell them to buy a tablet. And now we're gonna add another personalized version here for our healthcare campaign. All right. And here we have some text. So I'm gonna change the text, best laptops for healthcare. And the tagline will be, we offer the most innovative solutions for healthcare organizations. We don't want them to purchase anything, we just want them to download our healthcare brochure. So for that, we're gonna insert it here. The brochure is already uploaded on the website, so I'm just gonna choose it from our document library here. Enterprise Solutions Healthcare. And then the call to action would be get healthcare brochure We'll save that. And here it is. So we're going to publish the page, and we're going to go and preview the personalization to make sure that everything works. So we're going to go back to marketing, to the personalization tools. And here we have view site as one of those segments that we are currently targeting. And this is a similar feature as if you're browsing your Facebook profile on behalf of some of your friends, so that you can see what your friends can see in terms of information for your profile. So currently, this is how the website looks like to everyone. And now we're gonna select a specific segment. So if we select the one for customers that have purchased a laptop, this is what they see. But if we select the one for the healthcare campaign, we can see that this is the message we serve to all these people that visit the website. It's best laptops for healthcare and get the healthcare brochure. So everything works. We may also want to preview this on a mobile device, so on the iPhone 6. And this is how it will look on the iPhone 6. Everything looks good. So everything is good, and the next thing marketers need to do is monitor the personalization analytics in the Digital Experience Cloud for the campaign, and decide whether they need to adjust something, change the message, or further refine the audience, the targeted audience segment, in order to understand and optimize the conversion the most. So with that, I would like to just close some things here, go back to the live site, and return to our PowerPoint presentation to see what the next feature is. So multilingual support for digital assets. We are adding this on top of the already existing multilingual support for web content in the system. And marketers can now use images and documents and even videos that have been localized in multiple languages to run those international campaigns so that they can increase sales in a given market. And how this looks like on the website? Well, if we go back to our quantum computers, this website has been translated into 2 languages, English and Spanish. And if we go to our downloads page, currently we have different data sheets for each of our laptops. So if I go to the Photon datasheet here, we can see that this datasheet is in English because we're looking at the English version of the website. But if there was a Spanish visitor, and if we switch to Spanish, they're going to see a smaller selection of datasheets, and the reason for that is because we haven't translated all the documents in Spanish just yet, or we may don't want to translate all the documents in Spanish. But the Photon datasheet is still here, and if I download it, we can see that the content is in Spanish. So how this works in the admin area, let me show you. So if we go here to our documents and files, here is our datasheets library. And here we have the different documents. And as you can see, we do not have multiple copies of the same document for each language. Rather, we have different versions, and the system shows us which ones have been translated into Spanish and which ones have not been translated into Spanish. And if I go to the Photon datasheet here, we're looking at its English version, and if I switch to the Spanish version, we can see that it's a different file. And here we have the ability to replace this file with another file if we wanted to. So the multilingual support for digital assets works in the same way as it does for content items. And for those of you who are not familiar with that, if we go to our news articles, we can see that each article has also language versions, English and Spanish, and we can have as many languages for the website as needed. But if we open the Spanish version for one of those articles and decide that we want to insert a link to a document or an image for that matter, the system is smart enough to know that we're looking at the Spanish version of this article, and it will show us the respective Spanish versions of the digital assets for our datasheets here in this case. And if there isn't such a translation, the system would default to English, which is the default language for the website. All right, well, now let's go back to the website and take a look at the next feature, which is the ability to create multi-page forms. So for that, in order to enable marketers to take a long and complex form, such as a job application, and split it into several pages or steps, we've introduced two new widgets that are highlighted on the screenshot. One is the form navigation widget that sits on top of the form. And then the other one is the page break, which is used to create those steps for the form. One thing that I would like to point out is that the multi-page forms are only supported under the MVC version of the forms, and they're not available under the web forms technology. All right, so let's take a look at a quick demo of this feature. If we go to the careers page of the Quantum website, we see that there are several job openings, and we're a job candidate who wants to apply for a job, so we go to apply now. And what we see is a form that allows us to select which position we're applying for, add some personal details, and then employment history. We also have the ability to step backwards within the form. And now as a marketer working on the Quantum marketing team, we want to update this form to add a fourth step and provide the ability for the job candidates to upload their resume. So we are going to go to the admin interface again, go to content, forms. This is the job application form. And here we see the different widgets. Here's the form navigation widget, which is new. Here is the page break widget for one of the steps, second, and then the last step is the submit application button. So we would like to add another step. So we're going to use the page break widget here to add this step, and we are going to provide the ability to step backwards within the form and use the file upload widget to enable the users to upload cover letter and resume. So we have to provide the ability to upload multiple files, and we will limit the file size that can be uploaded to 10 megabytes. We'll save this. And if I scroll back up, we will see that the fourth step was added, step 4. And I would like to change that to say upload resume. And another thing that the form navigation widget has is the ability to change its template. So if you don't want to visualize the steps, you can show a progress bar, and this progress bar would start filling as the user progresses to the form. So we'll just keep it as steps here, publish it, and if we go back to our job application form, go to the careers area, apply now. And now we'll see that on the website there's the fourth step, and as we progress through the form, we have the ability to add as many files as we would like to upload to the form. And this is how easy it is to create multi-page forms with the Sitefinity Form Builder. Okay. And that concludes our overview of the marketing features in the Sitefinity 9.0 release. So next, let's talk about the improvements for continuous delivery and deployment that benefit IT and developers. So what's new in the release is the ability to transfer content structures and configurations between environments from like development, staging to production environment. Because now when somebody, for example, creates a custom module such as for case studies using the Sitefinity module builder, and they would like to transfer that from the development to staging to production environment, there's manual work involved because this module has to be recreated on each environment. And then if there's some content, you can use the sign synchronization feature to transfer that content between environments. And with this release, we now make it easy to export the module's structure and configurations in a file and then automatically transfer that file between environments. To show you where this functionality is available in the system, we're going to go back to the admin interface. And if we go under administration, there is the ability to export files for deployment. So when you click here, we can see that this would export all data models and configurations related to content types, taxonomies, and widget templates from the database into the Updata Sitefinity/export folder. So if I click this would start exporting the files. And if I go to the file system real quick, as while this is exporting, this is the website that we're looking at, Updata/Sitefinity, and here is the export folder. And as you can see, currently it's exporting different content types that we have, and it's populating this folder, generating those files. One thing that's different before is for the dynamic modules. Those dynamic modules are the ones created with the Sitefinity module builder, and they're also called custom content types. Before, all the configurations were in a central file for all the modules. Now each of them, currently we have stores and offices, has separate configurations and structure that can be exported in order for you to move them between environments. And let me see here, currently the process has been successful. So if we go back to our website, now we have this export folder on our development environment. And if you would like to transfer now this folder, which contains all the content types on the development environment and their structure and configurations, to your staging environment, you can copy that over and move it to the staging website into the same location here. And if I copy it, currently I'm doing it manually, but all this process can be automated, and you can run automated tests on it depending on your continuous delivery setup. Once the files make their way on the staging environment, the system would check if they're new files that contain new configurations and new structures, and it will automatically apply them to the staging website. And one thing I would like to show you about the staging website is that currently I've activated the new theme for the admin interface here called Light, and you can activate it by following the instructions on the dashboard by going to the administration settings, advanced appearance, and then entering Light for the theme name for the backend theme. And if we browse the website, here we can see that this is the same user interface and experience. We haven't changed it. The only thing we've changed is the look and feel. The colors are a little bit different, the icons are changed, the styles are refreshed, so it gives it a little more modern look, and it uses flat design principles as opposed to like some of the gradients that you see in the current theme right here. Alright, so if the staging website had any new configurations and modules imported into that export folder, the system would automatically recognize them. So let's move on to the next feature, which is the simplified widget creation and improved performance in the Feather framework. For those of you who are not familiar with the Feather framework, it is a convention-based, mobile-first UI framework for Sitefinity CMS that leverages modern technologies such as ASP.NET MVC 5 and third-party UI frameworks like Bootstrap and Semantic UI. This framework is available as open source, and we've been working on it for the last 2.5 years. And what's new with the 9.0 release is that we're making it easier for developers to create widget designers by automatically registering them in the system and by simplifying the process. And those widget designers are the things you currently see here on the slide, where they provide the interface that marketers interact, and They're key for successful CMS implementations because if we make it easier for developers to build those interfaces, then when they hand over the system to the marketers have more agility to work with it, and they're more self-sufficient so that they do not have to call the developer for simple things such as updating a text, changing an image, and so forth within a given widget. All this can be done through the configuration interface of the widget. Now, a few important things about the Feather framework, which provides the basis for MVC development in Sitefinity CMS, and it also provides all the MVC-based widgets in the system, is that with the 9.0 version, we have enabled this framework by default, and we recommend it for use for all the new projects that you start with the system. And the good thing about it is that Sitefinity CMS supports both MVC-based widgets as well as web forms-based widgets on the same page. Therefore, if we're still missing a widget available in MVC, you can use its web forms counterpart on the same page and benefit from all the MVC features that we have delivered up to date. Furthermore, we have introduced a new UI package called Minimal that can be used as a foundation for custom UI development so that you don't have to start from scratch. And we're going to focus more and more our efforts in supporting the Bootstrap UI framework and less so the semantic UI and foundation in terms of the front-end packages. We've also improved significantly the documentation, tutorials, and code samples that are available for the MVC framework. As you can see, we've added tutorials for customizing the content block widgets, working with dynamic content items, and those have also code samples that you can go and explore on GitHub. And there's a complete tutorial of how you can build a custom widget with several selectors in it. And here is the URL that you can follow to find more information about those tutorials and code samples. Next, I would like to talk about a very big feature that has been in the works for more than 6 months now. And this is the new Web Services API, which is based on OData. This API is here to replace the current RESTful API, which is based on the Windows Communication Foundation. And what's cool about this new API is that we are providing a configuration interface for it, so that developers can create new APIs very easily through this interface. And that way you can either consume content from the CMS or you can import content to the CMS. And to quickly show you how this interface works is let's go and create a new API for our Quantum website. So we're going to go to the administration area, API services. And here we have a sample API. So let's create a new one. We're going to call it articles. We're giving the API a name. This is the URL of the API. Here we specify the access for this API, whether everyone has access to it, authenticated users only, and both of these are according to the user permissions, and whether only administrators would have access to this API. Moreover, at the bottom here we have the ability to select which content types we would like to expose to this API, and we don't want all of them. So I'm going to deselect this, and we can select only news because we would like to expose news articles. But news articles have hierarchical taxonomy, flat taxonomy. They also have comments, and they have images coming from the image libraries. All right, we've selected our news articles that we'll expose to the API. We'll say that this service is active, and then we'll create this service. And if I click here, using your application, here is the documentation for this API. And what we see is this is how we can get all the news items here. And then at the bottom, we can see the different fields for the API, different formats of the resource that this is in JSON format according to OData. Here we can see how we can use the post method to create news articles through the API, and here is a sample how to do it. And if I use the get method to pull all the news articles, we're gonna go to the URL of the website, go to the API, and then here we can see this is the JSON for all the news articles that are coming from the website. and we can consume this information from another application if we wanted to. Another interesting thing that I would like to point out is when you open the API, you have here the ability to change the URL, and you can change the URL of the individual items as well. So here you can just say news, and that's it, and then save the changes. And once you make one of those changes, the documentation will automatically update as well. Now, what's interesting about this API is that we're going to use it for the foundation to allow you to create mobile apps that are content driven and from the actual Sitefinity CMS. So for that, we've simplified the integration with the Telerik platform, which is a cross-platform mobile development solution for iOS, Android, and Windows Phone. This is part of the Progress product portfolio, and you can easily share content between a mobile app built with the Telerik platform and your Sitefinity website. Moreover, you can build the mobile application by using the screen builder of the mobile platform, and the way you can do that is following a few steps that I will show you in a moment. But before that, I would like to point out that this would be our recommended solution going forward for creating mobile apps, and the Sitefinity mobile app builder that you may have seen as part of the CMS would be discontinued with the next Sitefinity CMS release, and we will no longer support that because the Telerik platform offers a great way for you to build those content-driven mobile applications, and it's a much more powerful tool set that covers the end-to-end mobile application development cycle. Now, when you go to the Telerik platform to create a mobile app, all you have to do is connect to the Sitefinity website by adding a data provider, and here's the Sitefinity name for it, and then all you need to do is specify the URL to the API for the website where you can consume the content. And once this is done, you're going to see all the content types that are available in the website in the Telerik platform, so that you can use the screen builder to create the views for the mobile app through configuration with just a few mouse clicks and without the need to code everything from scratch. So we're significantly simplifying the process of building those mobile apps. This functionality will be available in April as part of the Telerik platform, and as for the Sitefinity 9.0 release, it is available today, so you can download that from the sitefinity.com website. And if you would like to learn more about the features, you can go to sitefinity.com/what's new. So with this, I would like to conclude today's webinar and say thank you to our guest speaker, Mark Grannan from Forrester Research, and thank you for attending the webcast. We're already on top of our hour, therefore I would like to open it for some questions.